Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's California Brokers Business Accelerator. Today's webinar on lower dollar, high impact prospecting methods is hosted by our Northern California broker, Jeff Green. Before we begin, I would like to show everyone a new feature that we have available in our AJI University. Down at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, you will notice an orange bubble. This is our AJIU Instant Chat. If you have any questions for corporate, please feel free to send us a chat message for an immediate response. We will be adding more new features and look forward to introducing them to you in the near future. With that being said, I would now like to turn the mic over to Jeff Green. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Victoria. Thank you very much. And good morning to all of you agents who are interested in increasing your profitability. And one of the great ways to do that is to figure out all the ways that you can create leads with minimal effort and minimal cost. And that sounds like a fantasy, but we're going to talk about how we can make that a reality. The problem that we face in real estate is that when you look at all the ways to generate business, there's a sliding scale of cost. And as you know, the high end of the cost is paying for internet leads. And by the time you're in real estate for any length of time, you're going to end up paying for internet leads, or you're not going to be as profitable or financially set as you wish to be. But this webinar is for the purpose of kind of filling in some gaps, because one of the problems with internet leads is there's a threshold of spending you have to cross before you really, sometimes before you're even profitable. If you're not careful, you can end up spending more money on the leads if the leads aren't in a good set, they're not being provided for you in a way that they're closable, or you're in a saturated market. You can end up spending more than you're making, which is tragic. So what we're going to talk about today is the flip side of that, where you're definitely going to spend less than what you're making. And I mean, you're going to spend less, way less than what you're making with these methods. So let's start by talking about some of the tools that you're going to need, just kind of to introduce this. When you are kind of taking a minimalist approach, that minimal resources but high result, you should always carry with you your business card. And I know that sounds really obvious, but I don't know if you've ever forgotten a business card or shown up to an event or something like that. I make a point of, I keep a stack of business cards in my car. I even encourage my wife to carry them in her purse, because I know she always has her purse with her in case I'm in a pinch and I don't have the business card. If you're a lady, you've got that under control usually. Another thing that's really helpful to have with you is a pocket-sized notepad, a spiral notepad that you can slip in your back pocket. We'll talk about that in a little bit and why that's useful. A smartphone or a tablet with MLS access. Everywhere you go, you should be able to answer any MLS question, either on your phone or in a tablet or something like that. And then it's always good to have something to give away to your clients. One of the best things is a free app. And there's an app that I use called HomeSpotter, and it is one of the apps that's provided by Metrolist, but it's also available through CRMLS, Barris, Bayes, Contra Costa, EBRD. And if you don't have HomeSpotter in your MLS, there's probably an app that they have that's either free or relatively free. The benefit of this app is you can give it to anybody and it brands all the listings to you. It's not like a Zillow app or a Realtor.com app. You give this app to people, and if they have a question about a property, they're looking at your information only. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through this webinar. So with regards to winning and losing at prospecting, it's not really hard to determine the outcome. Those that prospect will win, and those that don't prospect will lose. One of the problems that, probably one of the biggest obstacles to prospecting, is task aversion. You basically get to the point in your your real estate life where you get tired, or you're tired of doing the same thing over and over again, and there's various tasks that you become adverse to, whether it's giving out your business card or whether it's knocking on a door. And psychologically, these barriers are put in place where you fail to prospect. And if you fail to prospect, you're going to fail to make money. Those that continue to prospect, you might have seen some agents, maybe they're not the sharpest person you've ever met, or maybe they're not the most articulate, but they are the most consistent. And those are the ones that tend to win the game. So let's go right into these prospecting methods. The first one we're going to talk about is 5-card draw. And it's not the poker game. And this, I'm going to tell you something that you probably already know, but if you can make a commitment to giving your business card to 5 possible buyers or sellers per day, the results are going to be phenomenal. And what I'd encourage you to do is use the Seinfeld strategy. He had this strategy called don't break the chain. And what Seinfeld did, most of you know who Seinfeld is. He's one of the wealthiest comedians that has ever lived. And he made a commitment several years ago that he was going to write 1 joke a day. And he said some days, man, I could not come up with a joke. He would write 1 joke a day. He would just write, even if it was the worst joke, he would push himself. And he would take a calendar and he would mark an X on that calendar every day that he wrote a joke. And what happened at the end of that period, he would look back and he'd say, man, look at this. I am not going to stop now because I have all these X's in place. So this is a great strategy. Get a calendar. There's several that you can print out online. This is an example of where you want to go low tech. Print it out, put it on your wall, and make a commitment. I'm going to give out 5 of my business cards every day. And think about power in numbers. If you give 5 cards a day, that's not very much. Then you're giving out 35 a week. And then you're actually giving out 150 per month. If you wonder where I got that, average month is 4.3 weeks. So I kind of rounded it off. And then you're literally giving out 1,825 business cards a year. Now that's a lot of business cards, but look at the numbers. At a meager 5% touch to lead ratio, you will create 91 leads in 1 year. That's a 5% touch to lead. That means out of every 100 people, 5 of them are going to turn into possible leads. So when you give them their card, that's when you're going to, if they want more information, you're going to pull that little notepad or some kind of device or something out that you can take down their name and their contact information. If 2.5% of those 91 leads turns into a closed escrow, you'll get 2.275 closings per year. So what's the 2.75? Let's just call that a referral. So let's say you're likely, if the numbers are right, you're likely to get 2 sales and a referral out of this, a 25% referral. So this is something that I want to encourage you to do. Understand, and I'm not going to go into numbers today. That's for another webinar, but understand your numbers, understand conversion rates, because out of all the leads you get, a certain percentage are going to convert. Some people get discouraged. They say, well, on internet leads, I'm only converting at 3%. Well, that's not bad. That's 3 out of 100. That means you've just got to up your numbers. You've got to know your numbers. So let's go to the next strategy. The next strategy, and this is a very inexpensive one, is called stealing the thunder. This is when there's a new listing. Be the first agent to speak to neighbors of new listings that are around them. Go to the door, and I typically recommend that you go to the door with nothing in your hands, because as soon as you go to the door with a notepad or a clipboard or all this junk, you look like the cable salesman or somebody peddling some product. You're going to the door casually as a neighbor, and you're going to tell them, hey, my name's Jeff Green. I'm with Allison James Estates and Homes, and I'm in the neighborhood today updating the neighbors on real estate. And by the way, there's a house that just hit the market down the street. They may not even have the sign up yet, and you're the first one to tell them about it. You can ask them if they know anyone that's planning on moving into the neighborhood. Are you curious about it yourself? Would you like to take a look at it? I can show it to you, and I can compare that house to what your house is worth, and I can give you a market analysis. And sometime in the you don't want to say market analysis, of course you want to put it in language that they're going to understand. I can give you a great analysis of what your house is worth. You can ask them, when do you plan on moving? You know, everybody's going to move someday. So you'll ask them those types of questions, and you can target listings in our firm, and you can even target listings in other firms. You can tell them, hey, I'm here to tell you about that listing. It's not our listing, but I have the information on it, and I have the key. I can show it. Another strategy is be the bearer of good news. This is similar, but it's on the opposite side of the transaction. Be the first person to tell neighbors what a house sold for. And always give your business card. On the first strategy, give your business card. Same with this one. Answer their questions, build some dialogue, offer to do the market analysis, and give away your free app. Hey, you know, I've got this app. If you can give me your cell number, I can text it to you. And you can actually, the great thing about HomeSpotter is you can actually stick the app in your hand and point it at a house, and that house, it'll geolocate that house, and it'll pop up on their screen. And of course, you're branded on there. All your information's on there. So be the first to tell the neighbors what a house sold for. Hey, this sold for $400,000. Last year it would have only sold for $350,000. And ask them something like this: would you like to know your house's new value in today's market? I'm going to tell you some things that you can't get on the internet, because those internet valuations are based on every type of transfer. Spousal transfers, they're based on foreclosures, they're based on, they average all that in, but I can give you a great analysis of what your house should sell for, and build that rapport. Pull out your little pocket-sized notepad in your back pocket and write some notes. But when you go to the door, I strongly recommend you go to the door without anything in your hands, and you dress like the neighbors. If it's Saturday morning when people are out pulling their weeds, you know, dress casual, so they don't think you're, you know, somebody that's there to be intimidated of. So next strategy is turn downs from big wheels. Now, who are the big wheels? Well, they're agents that do a lot of business, and a lot of times there's agents that don't have time to take care of all their leads. So what you want to do is call them up and say, hey, I'm Jeff Green here, and I'm a new agent, or I'm just rebuilding my practice, or I've had a great year, but I'm looking to fill in and do a little bit more. I'm willing to pay you a referral for leads that you cannot reach. If you had people that you've tried to contact and you can't reach them, I'll go ahead and put them in my database, and we'll work out a referral agreement. If I can get them into contract, I'll pay you a referral fee. A lot of people are like happy to get rid of these dead leads out of their database. They don't have the time to process them. Also, leads that are outside of their price point or geographical area. You may be an agent that doesn't have a lot of business, and there's a luxury real estate agent in the area. They only do sales above $1 million. They don't have time for a $400,000 deal. They'd love to get a referral, and you can go ahead and talk to them about that, or just basically leads that they don't have time for. So these are some things you can do. Turn downs from big wheels. Next strategy is renters of listed houses. Now, I'm going to tell you, I want to be a little careful with this one, and I'll explain that to you as we go. But here's what you do. You want to develop a hot sheet to search for all rented listings. Most MLSs have a checkbox to indicate if there's a tenant. Now, some agents I found in doing this don't know the difference between a tenant and an owner, or they accidentally check the box. So you want to be careful that you're actually talking to a tenant. So you want to, you know, if it says call tenant Bob for access, look up the tax record and see if the owner's name is Jose and it's not Bob, then you know you're good. But if it's the same name, it's probably the owner, so you're going to offend them. But if there's tenants, most of the time tenants are ignored. You can call a tenant and say, has anyone spoke to you about buying this house? Because there's actually people that could buy the house they're in and they've been ignored. Or, hey, I know you're renting and gosh, it looks like you're going to have to be moving soon. Is there any possible way that this move could be a purchase instead of a rental situation for you? Would that be of interest to you? And they might say, no, I'm not ready for it. I'm not qualified. Well, maybe you can add them to your database. You can get them through credit repair. And even if they totally turn you down and they can't do anything, you can always use the who do you know script. Wow, it's been great talking to you. Who do you know that would like to buy a house or sell a house? I'd be happy to help them. So renters of listed houses, they're already feeling the pain. They're going to have to move. So they're a good target to reach out to. And frankly, they're pretty much ignored throughout real estate. The next one is you want to do a winter or fall and winter Expire Fest. So right now, we're technically coming at the end of winter. We're in spring, and it's still time to do it. You could call it a spring, fall, and winter Expire Fest. And I say fest because you're going to be festive when you put some of these listings on the market. So what you want to do is pull every listing in your market area that failed to sell during the fall and winter, particularly if you're in a market area that has a heavy swing between fall and winter, which most of them do. By the time we get to November, December, sometimes even October, people are checking out of the home buying process. They're hunkering down, especially in California here where it rained all winter and there wasn't much real estate activity. You can call these people. A lot of times their number is still in the MLS. You can knock on their door and you can explain the benefits of listing now. Take some comps with you and show them. And if the market's gone up, show them stats and explain how the market increases could be beneficial to them now. Hey, you guys, look at this. Look what you took your house off the market. It was probably a good choice because look, you're probably going to get 10,000 more or 20,000. In some markets, it could be $50,000 more between last fall and now. You've got good news to tell them, and you don't need to go in, to the door with any sense of embarrassment or failure, or you're not giving them good information. They're going to say, wow, I'm really happy to hear about that. And even if they don't want to put the house on the market now, you can extend that relationship by saying, look, I work in this neighborhood. I track values every day. This is what I do. How about if I update you once a month on the value of your home? And you can do that almost automatically with software. So let's go to the next one. This one you probably figured would be on here, and that is conducting open houses. And I always say that if you're going to do an open house, get as much out of it as you can. There's a lot of things that can be done to turbocharge your open house. You can door knock around the open house you're going to hold open. Go to the door and say, hey, I'm going to hold this house open on Saturday between noon and 4 or 1 and 3 or whatever you're going to do. Who do you know that's thinking about moving into this neighborhood? Some of the best clients I've ever gotten are people from open houses that weren't buying, that they didn't want to buy a house. They wanted to sell one. Now, have you thought about selling? Because I'd love to tell you what your home's worth, and if it doesn't meet your goals to sell now, I can provide you an update every month to let you know what your house is worth. Another thing you can do is be ready to share your app, share your local knowledge. Hey, you're seeing a lot of houses come on the market. Would you like an app that lets you know everything about that house very easily? Somebody needs to mute there, please. And then the next one is you can add their leads to the database. And then also you can run a daily hot sheet of this is how you're going to find people to hold an open house. Run a daily hot sheet every day of all the Allison James Estates and Homes listings to find listings that other agents may not be able to hold open. There are some agents, you can call them up and say, hey, How about if I hold your house open? They're going to say, I don't share my listings with anybody. Great, cross them off the list. And those that are open, there are some agents that literally cannot find enough hours in the day to get listings open. They would love to have a go-to person. And you should be that person. Introduce yourself, be prepared to explain why you're a good choice to hold an agent's house open. Now, if that agent is holding another open house, go over there and meet them. That's the best time to meet them. Go to their open house. Hey, I just want to meet you. I want to find out what you do. How would you like your houses to be held open if I can hold them open for you? And become the open house go-to agent for busy and top producing agents, or even agents that are going on vacation while they have a listing. You can fill that gap for them. So open house is a critical thing. So let's do a little discussion on follow-up. So after you talk to people, you can drop a packet at their door, comps, other information. Don't leave anything confidential in there. Don't run a tax record of their property and leave it at their door. It's best to actually hand it to them. Go back and say, hey, you know, I just wanted to give you some supplemental information. And you can print a few items out and show them what you've done. Another thing is a thank you card. Thank you cards are inexpensive, and you can write a note, put your business card in there, and if you have people that you've done business with a long time ago, send them a thank you card even 2 or 3 years later. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I wanted to thank you for the transaction we had, and here's my business card in case you don't have it. I just want to give it to you in case you know anybody looking to buy or sell a home. Another thing you can do is newsletters. There's a lot of online newsletter options. Use your agent marketing account provided by Allison James. And of course, when you follow up, always give your business card and share your app. So these are a few things. I'm sure there's others. There's things that you can pull together on your own that will help you build what you're doing at minimal costs. And always be mindful, you know, the most expensive prospecting methods are not always the best, because there's a, you know, if you're making X amount of dollars and you're eating most of those up in costs, then you're not really profitable. You know, if you make $200,000 and it costs you $150,000 to make it, I mean, that's an exaggeration, of course, but you get the picture. If you could figure out another way to do it, you'd be better off. So I just want to, I know we just have a few minutes left here. I want to see if anybody has any questions. So we'll give you a couple minutes. You can type them into the chat box, and then Victoria will read them off for everybody's benefit, because if you have a question, I'm sure it's something that will help somebody else. And we'll give you a few minutes. If you don't have any questions, you're welcome to click off and be on your way. And if any of the other brokers have anything they want to throw out here based on our discussion, feel free to comment right now. It'd be great.
We do have a question here, Jeff. It is, how do you find phone numbers for those renters or expireds that are not on the MLS or white pages?
Okay, that's a really good question, because in the world we live in today, it's really hard to even get phone numbers, because probably the vast majority of people are getting rid of their home phones. So one of the things you can do is you can set up a preview appointment. If a house is being rented by, if there's tenants there, and you can get an appointment to preview the property, which previewing's a lost art. A lot of agents don't do it anymore, but it's advisable to go out and look at properties. When you set an appointment to preview the house, you can go in there and you can tell the agent that you know, I don't need the people to leave because I'm just previewing it. And if it's cool to have that conversation, if it comes up, if the tenant talks about leaving and any frustration, there's nothing that prevents you from talking to them about your services. It's completely legal to do that. It's not a problem. So that's one way to do it. As far as other ways to get numbers, you may want to look for people on social media. but it's pretty hard to give a random message on social media. I wouldn't do that unless it was really clear that it's somebody that maybe you even knew, or somebody that you're really sure that they're not going to think you're a stalker. But that's something to use very carefully. Any other questions?
We do have another one here. Could you tell us more about the app?
Okay, so the app that I use, and if you can, whoever type that, if you can type what MLS you're part of, that would help me, because if it's our MLS that has it, then I can give you some pointed instructions on it. But essentially, the app that I use is it has two products. There's a client-facing product, and there's a agent-facing product. The agent product enables you to have full access to the MLS. You see everything that you would see on a full MLS detail report, which is really useful. I find HomeSpotter to be the best smartphone interface that I've ever used for Metrolist. Now, what it does, it allows you to chat with people. If they send a notice to you, you get an alert on your phone. It also allows you to send properties to them, and what it does is it has a search screen with a map. They can see all the properties in the area. They tap the location button, and there's a button on it that it's called Spot. And once they tap that Spot button, they hold it up, and you can literally spin around in a circle, and property addresses in little boxes pop up on the screen, and it says this one's 100 yards away, or 300 yards away, or quarter mile away. I don't know how far the radius goes out. I'd have to look into that. You tap that, and you can see the property information. The advantage to the client and to you is they can, I don't know if you've ever gotten calls, hey, tell me about this property. I see the sign. Well, people are reluctant to call, so they can literally pull it up on the app and take a look at it, and then they can send you a message right from their phone. It's really valuable.
Neat. Do you know if that app is available for Tahoe, Sierra, and the other one, Metrolist? Jeff, do you know?
Metrolist, it's definitely available in Metrolist. I don't know if it's available in Tahoe, Sierra, but if you call your board or MLS, describe what I just described and say, hey, do you guys have something like this? If they don't, you might be able to get an app from a third-party vendor, and that way it'll probably cost you something. But if you're in Metrolist, the HomeSpotter app is completely free. You don't have to pay for it. And a lot of MLSs provide it for free or something similar.
Perfect. That was a great suggestion. We have an agent from Virginia on today, and she said she's going to check it out and see if it's available over there.
All right, Virginia snuck into our California. Great.
Love it.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
We have, looks like we have one more, Jeff. How is it different from Paragon Mobile?
I don't know. I don't use Paragon Mobile, so I couldn't tell you. And Paragon Mobile might just be fine. The only thing that I would say is you really want to make sure that it's something you can deliver to your client. If Paragon Mobile doesn't have a client-facing app, then all you're getting is MLS access for yourself. So you want to have a client-facing app that you can share, so that they're getting everything branded to you. And plus, as we all know, the third-party websites, they don't have accurate data. Their syndication is truncated. They have to make their syndication one size fits all, so they don't have all the data. And the other thing that they do is they don't refresh. Even though they claim to, they don't refresh as quick as an MLS app. The MLS app that you get actually is going to refresh in real time. It's not based on a feed. It actually logs into the server direct. So it's not getting fed the information. It's actually accessing it live. So that's why you want an MLS app.
Hey, Jeff.
Yes,
this
Omar.
is Omar.
Hey, Omar.
So I wanted to add two things that are, since we're talking about free possibilities of tools that you can use for your business. There's one website that I think everybody should be using on a regular basis. It's helped me a lot in my business. It's called breakthroughbroker.com.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So they have templates for listing presentations, buyer presentations, mailers that you can send out, just a letter to your neighborhood, that your farm that you're maybe farming and you don't want to spend a lot of money mailing. You can actually print out these letters and maybe drop them off yourself as part of your door knocking. They have suggestions on apps, such as the apps you were talking about, plus some additional apps that can help you in your business in general, whether it be with accounting, it could be for marketing, it could be any other tools that you may suggest. This website really has done a great job of helping agents be more cost effective and be more productive all in one place. So check it out. It's called breakthroughbroker.com. There's a lot of useful tools on there, and they have a lot of very good information for you to be able to help your business grow.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Mm-hmm. We love Breakthrough
Any other
Broker.
questions?
I know that it is free as well to create an account on breakthroughbroker.com. So we have the link in AJI University, and yeah, it is. I agree with you totally, Omar. It's a great website.
Absolutely.
It looks like that is it for the questions today, Jeff.
Well, great. I want to thank everybody, and I want to encourage you to go out and be successful. The resources that you have at Allison James Estates and Homes are phenomenal. We have great brokers. I personally value them myself for the knowledge they have. We also have an incredible corporate staff and great systems and tools. If you're not using AJI University, there's just a lot of information in there. It's all free. There's actually listing presentations. There's all kinds of tools. One of the things that our corporate office is offering now is personal calls, where you can call in and schedule a call with our support team. And if you have any questions whatsoever, they can walk you through that. If you have any questions about anything like that and you need help, just send an email to support@ajicorporate.com, and they will be quick to give you a great assistance and help you enhance your business. So all the best to you, and thank you so much for attending today.
Thanks, everyone.